Very good morning and happy Sabbath. Just some background about this sermon. I'm very thankful for the opportunity of being able to preach here. And so I thought that, why not I do a kind of like, through the years, what have I been preaching in SDACC? And I find that I don't preach too much about doctrinal stuff. I find that I gravitate towards preaching a lot about life stuff. So as I look through, I said, okay, part of my, morning studies, going through Gospels and all that, and I said, yeah, why not for this Sabbath maybe preach something about worry. But just in case, I looked through the years, and guess what? About 10 years ago in September, same place but different settings, yeah, I also preached about worry. And I was like, still worried. So I decided to change the passage. So the previous message, if you can look back in our archives, all the way back to 2015, was on Matthew 6. Still Sermon on the Mount. But this is a parallel passage about the Sermon on the Mount. So as I was thinking about it, maybe change to another passage and all that, I decided, no, let's talk about worry still. And because why? People are still worried. Still worried. So I thought, okay, just see where we are in Singapore as a nation, a country. What's the state of worry? Couldn't find any specific statistics that focus on, asking people whether you're worried. But by looking at how people are stressed or anxious or depressed, we may find something. And there was something that was reported, a medical kind of like research group, or a research group actually, research on this from the medical lens as well, to find out the state of the mental well-being of Singapore residents. Good or bad? What do you think? Bad. Something to be worried about? Yeah, maybe. So you can't see it, but let me read for you. More than half, 55%, of Singaporeans say they have stress. They're stressed to the point where they have impact on their daily lives. My goodness. I was wondering, although I didn't Google that detail, and that was to find out how many Christians worry. I don't know. Ask your neighbor, are you worried? Ask your neighbor, are you worried? Worried? Yeah, there could be. So let's look today and see, what does the world firstly teach about worry? Now, couple of quotes I want to just share with you from the point of view of how psychologists and philosophers would share. I'm not worried that I don't know how to pronounce the names of these people. It doesn't matter. But what they say was quite striking because there's some wisdom in it, right? Looking from the perspective of just carrying out your life daily, if you're worrying, worry actually never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. They will still be there if you worry. But what happens is a double whammy. It only saps today of its joy. Double whammy. And this one is very classic. Someone from, it's a French philosopher, I won't even attempt to pronounce his name. And he states this was like 15th, 16th century, right? There were many terrible things in my life, and most of them never happened. Think about it. No, what I laugh about it, right? I say, wow, think about it. When was the last time in your memory that you were so worried about something that you couldn't eat, you couldn't sleep, and it made you all cranky. It just spoils your day. Was there such a time? Was there? Well, I hope maybe you don't have. But if you have, then you're normal. Perhaps the 55% of Singapore residents have gone through that. So let's dive in today to look at a short passage, Sermon on the Mount, parallel to Matthew chapter 6, but it is found in Luke, Dr. Luke's version, right? Luke chapter 12. And I'll run through the short verses, make some commentaries on the way, and propose to you a way of looking at worry. Okay? Oh, you want me to stand here? Oh, I'm blocking everything. Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, yeah? Yeah. Can I stand here? Okay. All right. What does the Bible say about worry? Okay, so we're going to go through very fast. And if you see underlined, words, it is my underlining, right? It's not from the Bible, but it's just me wanting you to zoom in on what those words may mean to you, okay? So we're going to take from Luke chapter 12 onwards, right? So Jesus is addressing the crowd, and so, it's stated here, someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide inheritance, with me." It was a family squabble, right? And Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" And then Jesus states a truth. And I'm going to use the adjective here, and you're going to hear me say a lot. Kingdom truth. Kingdom truth. And he says, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Why? Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. Jesus did not condemn having abundance of possessions. Jesus just said, watch out. Because life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. Meaning there could be many, many forms. Okay? And he tells this person who wanted Jesus to judge in his favor, watch out. Because suddenly, there's a term called greed here. Greed. So it seems that, what's the connection of greed and abundance of possessions? Okay, we're just going to follow through in this kingdom proposition here. All right? So, and he told a parable. Most times Jesus tells teachings in parables because they're going to last for a long time. Those who get it, get it. Those who don't get it, well, wonder. Maybe there'll be some time that they can get it. But look for that deeper truth in that story. Okay? So, he describes the story. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. See the word abundant? Interesting, right? So this time, this man, certain rich man, he has a good harvest. He thought to himself, what should I do? I have no place to store my crops. And I underline store, because there's a link to it. So what has abundance? What has this thing got to do with storing? Because you think, okay, if he doesn't store them, he doesn't collect them or store them properly, they will spoil, right? And when they spoil, what will happen? He will make a loss. Okay? So just hang on to the word store. Then he said, this is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. Doesn't sound nice. That's supposed to sound like retirement. I think. Eat, drink, and be merry. Drink grape juice, by the way. Just kidding. So what's the problem, right? Sounds good, right? Eat, drink, and be merry. Relax. But once again, see the word I underline, store. Store my surplus. Because if not, it will spoil. Got it? Okay. So, but God said to him, and in this parable, right there's a very, very disturbing adjective or noun, fool. You fool. This very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? And once more, this is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, and the comparison, but is not rich towards God. So don't get me wrong, nothing wrong in storing. Okay? But the qualifier is that if it's just for yourself, and eat, drink, and be merry, and not being rich towards God. We're going to explore later, because the kingdom proposition of what does it mean to be rich towards God. And why does Jesus tell this parable? Right to the face, nothing against rich people, all right? Nothing. It's more of their attitude. What do they do with their possessions? What do they do with their abundance? Okay? So now, follow me through the idea of storage, because storage seems important. All right? We got nowhere to put enough, so we must store them somewhere, right? Then Jesus goes on to this idea of about worrying, being worried. He says here, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, about your body, what you will wear, for life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Another comparison about life. Life is more than all these things. It has to be more than that. It has to count for more than that. It has to count for more than just storing up all the abundance and then take it easy. It's not that. Okay? And the comparison then is with nature, with creatures that God has blessed in nature. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom. Have you seen crows with storeroom? No. Right? Yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Very practical. I think this should resonate with Singaporeans, right? Very, very pragmatic, very practical. If you cannot do this thing, why you worry about the rest? Why worry? Right? And he also points out, look at nature, look at the birds. They don't have store, right? But yet they get food. Okay? And then once again, looking at the example of nature, consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown in the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? So once again, the argument is about from the lesser to the more. If you consider, well, creatures, nature, lesser than human beings, right? And the lesser beings, God really takes care of them. How much more will he take care of us? That's the idea. That's the whole thing about thinking. That therefore, do not worry. Right? And this is when he goes on to the jugular. Right on to that. He says, and do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. Do not worry about. This is something very hard to take, right? Like saying, do not worry about your daily necessities. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I just lost my job. Then what will I be thinking? Wow. This verse confronts that thinking. There's something about trust, there's something about faith. But I think there's also something about your perspective, and I will expound more about it. Set your heart on what? Do not set your heart on what you eat or drink. So you need to set your heart on something, right? So later we're going to see that. Now, it says here, for the pagan or the non-believer world, runs after all such things, and your Father knows. Knows. It's very interesting, the key word here, the root word for know, has this idea of being seen. God sees, and therefore He knows that you need them. And the word is need, not one. You need them, right? So, seek His kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. In Matthew chapter 6, it says, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added. So similar here. Seek His kingdom. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. So here, just pause for a while. Do you know that we as kingdom people will receive the kingdom? Do you believe that? God's eternal kingdom will be given to us, and we have a part to play. So this is our whole perspective that we are looking at. And then He challenges them. Sell your possessions, give to the poor, provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So in this context of Luke chapter 12, parallel to Matthew chapter 6 doesn't have this, but this emphasis here is where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Right? So, a few key points. What are the key points here? Number one, life does not consist in abundance of possessions only. Now, if you have an abundance of possessions, praise the Lord. Are you going to store them? No, later on you're going to see that it's not about. The Lord has blessed us in abundance so that we can bless others. You know? So, I mean, that's the concept. So, compared with that rich fool whose life that very night when he had this grandiose thought was asked from him, what will happen to that? All right? So life does not consist of an abundance of possessions. And the second point is to note that there was a warning about not being rich towards God. I struggle with this. Like, but God is very rich. Why does He need my riches? No. If you look deeper, it tells us that how are we going to be rich towards God? Definitely not in possessions, because He owns everything, right? So how can we be richer than God? So it has to be something else. And I'm going to show you later, and I will say it's embedded in the kingdom. And once again, therefore, Jesus says, do not worry. Do not worry. This is the context of why we do not worry. You know, sometimes it's very irritating when you go through some stuff, and then if you have a friend who is forever optimistic, one, you know, sunshine, Miss Sunshine, you have that kind of friend? Everything, hey, everything you got problems, say, don't worry, be happy. Then you're like, oh. That's normal. That's very normal. So now I want to show you that the substance of this instruction to us about not worrying, where does it come from? Where is it, based on? And this is based on these two things. Number one, God knows what you need. You must trust that. Your Father knows what you need. And not what you want. Needs and want different. What you need. Okay, firstly. Second point. Therefore, we seek His kingdom first. We seek His kingdom first. Okay? And therefore, the last one is where we're going to ask ourselves where our treasure is. What's our treasure? Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to share with you this thought then, that if it's about the kingdom, then let's look at certain kingdom perspectives. And I want to share with you 7. It's quite a lot. Yeah, actually there are more. And by coincidence, they all start with the letter P. Just nice. Okay? So we're going to look at it. And I want to first share with you then that having perspectives is very, very important. Because why? It can make a world of difference. You believe? In December, I took a trip to Malacca and JB before Christmas with Adeline and my siblings. And we met my sister who came down from Cambodia to Malacca. And my brother, me, and Adeline took a bus instead of driving. We didn't want to worry, so we took a coach. Okay, I don't want to advertise the name of the coach, but later you can see it. The coach company says you need to be at, and there's a pickup point at Tampines MRT at 6:45 a.m. Right? The coach will leave at 6:45, but you need to be there at 5:45. I was saying, why do I need to do that? But never mind, I will obey. I will trust and obey. I went at 5:30. Nobody. Wait along. So excited. Like, hey, you want to go journey, go trip. I'm so excited. Nobody, no bus. 5:45, other people came. 5:50, the bus come. I said, hey, no, wrong bus. Not my bus. And they were like, this went on for about almost 45 minutes or so. There were about 10 buses, no bus. So I was like, almost didn't sleep at night. I was so excited. We were going to Malacca, right, visit relatives there. And then, wow, so excited. Then the bus didn't come. Then my brother looked at me and said, hey, kena scam or not? First, the famous word now is kena scam. I was like, I don't know. I called the office. I called the company. Then I called. Then person pick up. Say, yeah, they should be along the way. That was 6:45. No sign of the bus. Everyone left us. I called. It says, on the way. 6:48. The bus came. Wow. So relieved. Is the bus coming there? Then, hey, big bus. I think about 20 plus seater maybe. Only 3 passengers. Me, my brother, and Adeline. And the driver, most interesting driver I ever seen in my life. Purple hair. In local language, abeng. Abeng as in like, it's like, he walked like that. And his face was like, that was a sunny day, but his face was like thunderstorm. Wow. What did I sign up for, I don't know why. And then I went up. Then our seats were behind the driver because I thought it'd be very crowded. Only 3 people, very crowded. Behind him, and he was cursing all the way. He cursed his grandfather, grandmother, the whole genealogy. What was he claiming about? He said, well, whatever. I can't say. It's recorded and all that. I better not translate also. He says something, okay, politely. He says, okay, he didn't say it, but I'm going to translate for you. I received a complaint from passenger. How many passengers are there? 3. All one group. That I'm late. How come I'm late? I'm only 3 minutes. Then all the flowers come out, more than botanical gardens and gardens by the bay. And he went on and on and on. Then I look at my brother, I looked at Adeline, I said, oh no, the complainant was me. And he scold. And then we went down and then went to the immigration. He scold all the way. He was walking like that. He behaved exactly like the kind of students that my work does. My care. We handle this kind of boys. Then I see, this one is the grown-up version. of how my students are. They would scold. He was talking to his friend, another driver, and said, "This is so unfair, you know." And I believe he was scolding the dispatch clerk who dispatched him. The dispatch clerk received a call from a frantic customer. "Where's your bus? Where's the bus?" Right? And so on. This whole chain of anger was there. And he talked with his friend. I could see that he was getting better and calmer because his friends were there. But then he put down the phone, and then he was all alone, and he scolded himself. For the rest of the journey until we reached like Johor side, the second link side, there was an agent from his company received, and he calmed down a bit. But all along the way, the 3 hours plus journey, he was still complaining, was ruminating. And I said, "Oh dear, what did I do?" I said, one of my mottos in life is to ask myself, how can I help and add value to other people? This one, I didn't add value. Then I tried and smile at him, and he was like. But along the way, when I was about to reach Malacca, suddenly he became a bit happier because he was singing himself Hokkien song. So he looks happy. And I was like, God, how can I add value to him? So when I arrived safely in one piece, all right, at my destination was Hatton Hotel. Right? So we arrived safely. I decided, I think the Spirit inspired me. So I said, "Driver, thank you very much for driving us." I gave him a tip, 50 ringgit. Then my brother said, "You spoil market." 50 ringgit. I said, "No, I give him." And guess what happened? He smiled. "You are right." He more than smiled. He like, I was thinking, "Wow, you can smile." Along the way, actually, before that, Alan was saying, "Wow, this girl is very classic, very classic. Must take picture." And I said, "No, cannot. After that, he was curse us more, Maybe he take the parang and chop us, Cannot. But guess what? When we reached there, after I gave him the tip, I affirmed him and all that. I said, he smiled. I said, "Driver, can we take picture together?" He said, "Sure." Purple hair. And then, okay, someone else took, right? So my family and him, you see, he's smiling. Smiling. Yes. You want purple hair? No, okay. You see, who will have purple hair except him lah? So I'm going to tell you, perspectives matter. All right? To cut this story short, I'm going to share with you that on the way back, I didn't take his bus. On the way back from Malacca, we went to JB. It was the same company, but it was a different driver, and we encountered what could have been a 6-hour jam on the highway because there was a trailer, a truck that overturned. It was very, very bad, very massive. But the driver, who was a Malay driver, he was happy like don't know what. He's like, "Oh, jam ah. Oh, okay." He was talking to his another driver. They were like almost pairing up 2 buses, right, back and forth, and they could hear the chatter because they were chattering in Malay, but I could understand it. He was like, "Okay, no problem. We go this way, we go that way. Also jam." Then he laughed, "Ha ha ha ha. Jam, ha 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 ha." And he got us, more than the 6 hours that was expected. He got us faster. He cut through kampong and all that. And he was laughing all the way, And I was like, wow, what a difference. What a difference. Why? The way he looked at things. Okay? So I want to share with you then that, why do I share this story? What has it got to do with worrying? I said worry is a perspective issue. When you worry, what is it that is really, really bothering you? Perhaps it's the way we look at things. First, I said my first driver, maybe he felt that people were, complaining about him, that it was so unfair. The second driver felt, no, these things happen, so be it, let's do something about it. He didn't have that. So when it comes to worry, Let me then just share with you this perspective. Okay, let's see how they come to play. And the first one, we're going to briefly run through this 7 very briefly and see. And these are biblical perspectives about the kingdom. All right, so it starts first with priority. What is your priority? What do you place foremost and first in your life, in your decision making, in your energy, in the way you spend your time? Because Jesus said, seek first his kingdom. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all this will be added. And so therefore we take this as a first perspective, right, as priority. When we seek first his kingdom, what does it mean? What are the kingdom realities that we can cling on? And I want to share with you rapidly, right? These 7 embedded, there are these promises. Number 1, God, because God knows, God will provide for all our needs. All our needs, not once, right? So just go from that. No matter what we are going through, it may be so tough, but yet just know that God knows and God will provide. So that's the provision, all right? So kingdom perspective. Next one, he will be with us. Presence. His promise, right, to the disciples as he was leaving them. He says, surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. He is with us. If the Lord of the universe is with you, what does that mean? So in your trouble, in your anxieties, in your most difficult, painful time, he is with you. What does that mean for you? His presence. His presence will mean peace to us as well. Not as the world gives. It's a kind of peace that passes all understanding, because the world cannot give that peace. Only the Prince of Peace can do that. And he's promised us that. Peace I live with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. The world gives peace conditionally. Christ gives us peace unconditionally. You come to him, he gives you peace. There's no need to sign all kinds of agreement. No need. Just call his name, he comes. Presence, peace. And beyond the presence and the peace, there's something else which we sometimes do not realize or do not even, practice it. And that's the power. Right? Paul captures this. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. We can be plugged into the power. Just think of whatever we are going through. Why are we not plugging into the power? The presence, the peace, the power. And on the basis that God provides for all our needs, because he knows what we need. Having said that, though, it's not about us receiving, gimme. It's also about doing something. The kingdom has got work to do. The kingdom has priorities for us to do. And this is 2 of them. You know this very well. Matthew 28, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations. Disciples, examples of you. Are you going to be worriers or warriors? Are you going to make your disciples worriers as you? Then you must form a worry club. The instruction is to go and make disciples. And this, 1 Peter, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. We were once all in darkness. We were once all blind. But now we are in the light. Now we see. So we have to declare. Declare. The process of declaration, of sharing, Okay, that is our purpose. And in preparation for the kingdom to come. Our kingdom is an eternal kingdom. Our kingdom is not just here and ends here. No, our kingdom is an eternal one. And we are reminded. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. So 7 kingdom perspectives. And I want to compare this with 5 core human fears. Just pause for a while. And I just want you to think. Just pause for a while and think. What are your biggest fears? What are your biggest fears and worries? Just think. And if you feel so moved and you feel comfortable, maybe you want to share with the one next to you, your neighbor. I'm just going to get a drink of water while you do that, all right? Your biggest fears, and then share, if you are so willing, with your neighbor what this fear is about, all right? And later I'll come back. Okay? Just share, no need confess. From what you shared, I just want you to reflect. Most likely, it will fall in between one or a combination of these 5. Because this is the 5 core human fears. Very basic. Somewhere inside, you might have that. Let's take the first one. Extinction of death. That means dying. We're scared because inbuilt in us is like this thing of wanting to live. And sometimes, and this plays out when you stand at the edge of a very tall building. It's okay, it's all right. When you stand at the edge of a very tall building, or sometimes that there's this other buildings that they have, and they show you, and I see on YouTube, where they have this transparent floor, and the people go out, and then for the fun of it, they go and crack the thing, and then you see all these guys screaming away. Why? Because it's inherent in us. Maybe fear of heights and all that is because we think when we fall or whatever, we will die. And that is so basic. We're afraid of death because that is the ultimate killer like that. Now, let's look from the kingdom perspective. Yeah, so we die. The truth of the matter, the statistics for death, what's the statistics for death? 1 out of 1. Let me say that again. 1 out of 1. Means everybody dies. So that's the truth. But we are told that, hey, the life that we live now and then we die, that's not it all. There is an afterlife. There is life with God in the kingdom to come. So even if we die, what's there to fear? If we are part of the kingdom, we'll live. Number 2, quite common one, right? We are afraid that something will happen to us. Harm, illness, disease, or whatever. And at the back of my mind, the kingdom perspective that I hear from God is that God says, I am the God that heals you. By His stripes we are healed. healing comes from God. So if you confront that fear with the kingdom perspective, then he says that, hey, basically, we don't have something to fear because we have a God who knows and heals. Number 3, loss of control. And this is a hard one because we can't do the things that we want to do. And this could come in many forms. It could come in the form of losing our means for making a living and all that. And then go back and apply kingdom perspective. Father knows what we need. The Father provides for all our needs. Number 4, separation or rejection. When we feel rejected, when we feel isolated, when we feel all alone, compare that with God saying, I will be with you. Call on my name, and I will be with you. Every single one of these core fears we can meet by applying kingdom perspective. The last one, shame or humiliation. It's a very strong one because right at the bottom there's a lot of things of going back to feel rejected and all that. But people, God died for us. He took away our sins on the cross. He paid our price so that we can be with Him forever. Amen? So I'm just saying that it sounds very simplistic, but it's not. I'm just saying that the 5 core human fears, your worries are all embedded inside a combination of them and all that. Place in the kingdom perspective and you notice that, hey, it's taken care of. Our problems here, think about it, past taken care of, present taken care of, future, we don't know what they are. Sometimes it gives rise to anxiety. But I'm telling you, it's taken care of from kingdom perspective. You know, some of you may have caught this, but I'm not promoting it, but I'm just telling you, it has some truths in it. I'm not sure whether you caught this movie that was last year called I Not Stupid 3. It's like a whole series, and this is the 3rd one, and this has to do with PSLE. How many PSLE afflicted people are here? Anyone? Because if you are, I'll pray for you, especially PSLE, yeah? Yeah. Really, man? Okay. Stress. In this movie, if you have caught this movie, you find that it's very, skillfully presented. The pressures that the parents placed on their kids is because they themselves, the parents, feel the pressure from somewhere. Could it have been the way they were brought up, or could it have been that one of the protagonists was using the son to save the marriage, to prove to the husband that she's worthy of his love and not to divorce her. The other one confronted, right, with the boy, telling the boy that you must be number one. You must do all kinds of means to the boy. And he was so mentally stressed, he ran out and he got knocked by a car. And like they say in Jack Neo movies, every time there will be a hospital scene. And true enough, at the hospital scene, the mother is confronted with the reality that the son may die. And it's like, hey, you know what? It goes back. Extinction of death and harm. And suddenly the mother wakes up and realizes what they have done. Of course, it has a good ending. But I'm telling you now, yeah, apart from maybe you have PSLE, stress, and some of you have graduated from it, and maybe you're still harmed by it, but I'm telling you, in the realities of it all, what is the perspective? What do you treasure? Where's your treasure? Where do you spend most of your energy, your time, your dreams? Remember, goes back to the parable where Jesus says, hey, you rich fool, this very night, your life is demanded from you. And he says it's not about the abundance that you are storing, but you are not rich towards God. What is richness towards God? For me, I believe He's carrying out His perspectives. And therefore, we receive that promise. We carry out His purpose. And we tell others. You know, it's I think about all that the world is going through, that 55% of Singaporeans' daily lives filled with worries. As we go out and we tell these people, hey, I'm not only going to tell you not to worry, I will tell you that your life can be abundant. I'll tell you that your life now can be rich in relationships, rich towards God, and that life to come, we all can be together. And as our worship team now prepares for our song response, I just want you to reflect on this as we end this. What is your treasure?